Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The Remedy for Your Healthcare Staffing Needs. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Claire Alloway on the right side over there, and I am a part of the marketing team at Jobvite. We also have two amazing presenters, so let me get started and introduce them. So first off, we have Irv Nar. He has over 30 years of recruiting experience, specifically, as you can see in the logos to the right, in healthcare. He's an evangelist for relationship recruiting, emphasizing a proactive approach to recruitment, an advocate in talent acquisition as both a tactical and strategic entity. And he believes that talent acquisition should be a corporate competitive advantage. And we're definitely going to hear some tips as to how you get your organization to treat CAA as a strategic advantage if it doesn't already. We also are lucky to have Anita, who's joining us from Halogen. She's been there since 2014. She has more than 20 years of experience in consulting and professional services. And a little bit more about herself you can see in the bullets there. She has a ton of energy. I can attest to that myself. And you can just hear her passion and excitement about TA and about HR software. So she'll be giving you some tips on that side of the fence as well. So with that, I want to get done talking and get over to the real presentation. So Irv, I think you're going to get us started.
I am. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. So I'm going to be talking about recruiting today. What we're going to be discussing is both pragmatic and proven. It's a path to developing a high-performance recruiting engine that will provide you with a competitive advantage and make your efforts both more enjoyable and successful over time. So we all know we're dealing with talent shortages across the entire healthcare sector in the midst of a growing need. The uncertainty of the ACA is causing consternation amongst all professional industry groups, and we have a highly regulated hiring process that is under constant cost pressure. In many hospital settings, a bachelor's degree is the minimum requirement to hire a nurse, with associate's degree or certificate nurses no longer allowed. Healthcare leaders are demanding more and better data, and there are dramatic changes in the delivery model. Hospitals are becoming acute care centers, performing only critical operations, augmented by urgent care centers, ambulatory surgical centers, and as technology advances, more hands-off operations such as telehealth. In this evolving environment, you're called on to represent your organizations and provide the talent to make all this work. So what does this mean for all of us? We know we're going to be called on for a wide range of needs, from perfusionist to programmer, and from EKG tech to epic analyst. There's the constant pressure to reduce time to hire, lower costs, increase quality, and reduce turnover. Success in this difficult endeavor demands a shift from a requisition focus to a talent focus. We have to produce more data and transform that data into information. Information that is no longer recruiting speak, but business speak. We have to enhance our metrics and move beyond after-the-fact data to real-time data and predictive analytics. This competitive environment demands that we have strong employment branding, that we ensure a positive candidate experience, and that execution is by highly trained recruiters that are strong organizational ambassadors and equipped with the best tools. So what's the best solution? Build an engaging, centralized recruiting ecosystem of interacting elements that is inclusive of prospects, candidates, managers, and employees. So at the heart of this system is a talented and dedicated talent acquisition team that interacts with, engages, and supports their external clients, which are candidates and prospects, and their internal clients, which are managers and employees. Time and resources are a constant factor, so their ability to do so effectively on an ongoing basis over time requires a comprehensive and powerful communications and automation platform. Jobvite is just such a platform. So let's examine some of the key elements of this communication and automation platform. Your careers website is your window to the talent world. It projects your employment brand and provides you an opportunity to say, this is who we are and this is why you should come here. It needs to be a differentiator. It's amazing how many healthcare system websites go to great lengths to help you find a doctor, but finding a career is often buried and not easy to find. So you need to ask yourself, does your site project an employment brand? Can you find positions by location, category, type, or keyword? Can you apply to a talent pool, even if you don't immediately find a specific position? Can you sign up for job alerts as new positions come available? When a resume is uploaded, is the data parsed into a candidate record, or does one then manually need to enter the data into all the little boxes? How long is your application process? Many healthcare websites take 30 to 40 minutes to apply for a position. Good people who are presently employed are going to be turned off and go away. At two large health systems, we cut application time down to 30 to 40 seconds. And at Allegheny Health Network, we were known in Pittsburgh as the easiest website and employer to be able to submit an application to. Can an applicant forward a position to a friend or post it on social media? Can you apply with a social media profile or with or without a resume? Do your position descriptions project some wow or organizational character? Or do they read like paint drying on a wall? Is your site mobile enabled, allowing applications from a phone or a tablet? Is your system mobile enabled so that managers are not tied to their desks but can be fully functional with a phone or a tablet? I can say emphatically, when we went mobile at AHN, immediately 40% of our applications came from mobile devices. When we launched Jobvite and our associated website with our reduced application process, we went from 2,500 applications a month to 10,000 a month. Now, I know some of you are saying, we need more data in the application process. My answer to that is you can get more data with a pre-qualification step in your workflow. Don't deter people from applying. Sort them out when they get there. You won't lose the good ones. And if you think of everyone as a potential source, who knows what you might find? So the unit secretary for the OR at a major competitor applies. You don't have a need for a unit secretary, but guess who knows all the OR nurses? When is the last time you went on your website, clicked on all the links to see what happens, and tried to navigate around? It's amazing how many websites have frustrating or broken navigation. When is the last time you applied for a position at your firm just to see what the candidate experience is like? Give it a try. One of the hardest parts of any new system is listening to, oh no, we have to learn a new system, from managers and even recruiters. An ease-of-use system makes those refrains go away. A system that can be just as effective no matter how little or how much it's used by your managers, and a system your managers want to use because they're getting better hires and it makes their lives a whole lot easier. If you can click a mouse, you can use the system. It's intuitive and everything's at your fingertips one click away. You can be up and running with little or no training. In my experience, a quick user guide augmented with a webinar or a little one-on-one with a recruiter is all that's needed. And dashboards present a status picture to the user every time they log in and provide them a window to navigation. If you're relying on a simple ATS for recruiting, I guarantee that you have no possibility of hiring the best possible people. If you focus on talent, you want the best possible people, not the best available people. With integrated CRM capability, candidate relationship management, you can now become a proactive recruiting powerhouse with the ability to project your organization into the talent marketplace. Consider all the things that now become practical and possible. You can track, engage, and recruit all those references you've been checking. They're all potential candidates or sources to other candidates. In a matter of minutes, you can download information on every licensed clinician from every state license registry and begin marketing campaigns. Keep track of and re-recruit boomerangs. For those unfamiliar with the term, boomerangs are individuals that have left your organization that you might want to rehire. I remember at AHN, we reopened a hospital that had been shut down just a year before, and 50% of our hires came from boomerangs that we re-engaged through our CRM system. What about all those new graduate nurses you didn't hire the first time around? 2 years later, they are 2-year experienced nurses, and their training was paid for by someone else. They're ripe for recruitment. How about the number 2 or number 3 candidate for a position the last time around? They didn't get the job because there was only one opening, but was a good candidate. All your physicians and a large number of your managers all go to seminars and conferences. The attendees lists that they bring back are valuable sources of potential candidates and easily downloaded into your CRM system, or all association member lists, which your managers also have. And a CRM system lets you easily nurture talent for the long term, either as sources or potential candidates. When's the last time you sent someone a birthday or an anniversary greeting, showing them that you care? When you hear some bad news at a competitor, when have you sent a note to employees of that organization expressing concern for their well-being? What have you done to stay top of mind with that excellent nurse when she finally decides she wants to look for another position? Save hundreds of thousands of dollars of search fees with a database of top industry talent that you can now go and recruit. Keep track of resident physicians and attempt to recruit them to your organization when the residency is over. The possibilities are endless, but you need a CRM system to do it. No one can dispute the power of social media in today's environment. A system with direct links into social media channels allows you to use them in a powerful and professional manner. You can execute broadcasts on a one-time basis or schedule them to happen on a regular basis automatically. You can tie into the social networks of all your employees and make every one of your employees a recruiter, expanding your reach exponentially. Social media turns you into a marketing powerhouse. It's all about time and reach, and the ability to maximize both makes you that much more effective. You hire physicians differently than you do nurses. You have different unions with different requirements. And with the differences, you want to ensure consistency across the team and avoid embarrassing or legal conflicts. You want process and organization, and you recognize that one size doesn't fit all, and you need to accommodate differences across a wide range of positions. The ability of a system to create custom workflows tied directly to jobs, job families, or individual requisitions ensures that you can operate at maximum and effective compliance and efficiency. So how many times have you had a nurse apply to multiple positions? One manager interviews the nurse, yet another interested nurse manager knows nothing about it. Or perhaps an offer has been made and rejected, and yet another manager considering an interview knows nothing about it and might not otherwise interview the candidate. A single candidate record in your system ensures that a complete history of the candidate within the organization is fully visible. It ensures knowledgeable control while saving time, embarrassment, and the possibility of legal entanglement. I'm sure many of you would agree that a large amount of effort and time is spent scheduling interviews, and those that do it abhor it because it really is a pain in the neck. It's a constant back and forth between people to try and get an optimal schedule. Try and easily schedule 5 department chairs for a position interview. or line up multiple executives to interview a high-level VP candidate. Smart scheduling in a system allows you to designate the interviewees, and with visibility into available time slots on their calendar, the system shows you the best optimum schedule for your selected dates. No wasted time, no hassle. The schedule is automatically laid out in the scheduling email, and the invites go out. Likewise, the candidate gets an email invite showing who they'll be interviewing with and the associated times. Fast, efficient, and professional. In healthcare, we recruit across a wide spectrum of talent. A perfusionist one day, a programmer the next, an EKG tech the next, and then an electrician. All have different competency requirements that need to be covered and evaluated in an effective interview. The better you interview and evaluate candidates, the better hires you'll make. A system that allows you to create and set up custom electronic interview and evaluation forms based on job family, or individual requisition ensures that you as an organization are conducting the proper evaluation of candidates. It also ensures full EEO compliance in an audit, and JACO absolutely loves it. All this info is automatically dispatched to the interviewers in their interview invite via hyperlink, so there's no attachments to attach and open. Automated reminders go out to ensure completion, and the completed information is automatically available within the candidate record. You can designate whether interviewees can see other interviews' evaluations. Designate who covers what area if you wish. All this easily set up by you and could be changed or modified at will. Interview better, get consensus on evaluation, and hire better. Every once in a while, I apply for a position just to see what will transpire on the company side. It's absolutely amazing the lack of communication that exists. You fire off a resume, you may or may not get an automated email acknowledgement of your resume, and then you enter a cone of silence. Not to brag, but I have a lot of knowledge that could be of value to an organization if they just contacted me. And we wonder why candidates hate us or think we're totally inept. Yes, I know the excuse. Who has the time? To which I reply, you can't afford not to. And if you had a good system, it becomes part of your routine and really takes no time at all. Recruiting is like a symphony, and messaging is the notes. Whether it's communication with candidates and managers during the interview and hiring process, the communication with prospects in the recruiting process, or the communication with candidates you are rejecting. All your communication is a projection of your brand and your values and provides for either immediate or a long-term positive outcome. Turn candidates into referral sources. Increase your offer closure rate. Create positive buzz on the street about your organization, and have managers view you as an expert at what you do and a valuated resource. A system that allows you to pre-craft custom emails to cover different eventualities and or every step of your workflow saves you extensive time and ensures that even the worst communicator who might normally craft an email on their own becomes a scribe. And it ensures consistency of message and brand. The messages are customizable, can be edited, selected based on situation, can have data elements automatically inserted, and they're personalized. And what about internal chat capability within the system? Engage nurse managers while they're on the floor on their phones in real time to ensure the process with that top quality candidate is timely and flows smoothly. And all communications, email or chat, is recorded in the candidate record, so you always know what's happening now or what occurred in the past. So let's talk about video interviewing. And let me start out by saying that when I'm talking about video interviewing, I'm not talking about Skype. I'm talking about a system where the candidate easily creates video clips of themselves answering key questions you provide, and those clips become part of the candidate record, reviewable by your organization at your leisure. Think of it. Replace hours of pre-qualification interviewing with 10 to 15 minutes of video clips where you can see and hear the candidate answer those key questions that you want to ask. A real-life example. We needed to hire 20 new graduate nurses for the fall session of the nurse residency program. We got close to 300 applicants who would normally take hours and hours of resume review and pre-qualification interviewing on the part of both talent acquisition and nursing to narrow the pool down to 20 to 30 great candidates for final interviews. Each candidate, and I'm talking about the 300, received a link, instructions, and an introduction with 5 key questions to answer in a video interview. 2-minute responses for each question produced 10 minutes of video clips per candidate, which when completed automatically went to the candidate record. Talent acquisition and nursing could now review and evaluate the responses at their leisure. Fast, efficient, and it saved a whole lot of time for the organization and the candidate. And it projected a very positive image of the organization to the candidate because they felt that rather than being ignored, they were given a chance to present themselves for consideration. So when have you encountered this? An agency sends one of your managers a resume. They interview the candidate, and now, through no fault of your own, you're committed to a fee. But it turns out the candidate had actually applied directly, and you already had them in your system. With an agency portal in your system, you designate which positions you open up to which agencies, and they submit candidates through the portal. Candidates already in the system are identified, and you maintain control of agency activity and any associated expenditures. Everything is date time stamped, so conflicts are avoided. Just one more way to save time and money. So everything's going great, and over time you've built up a vibrant database of people. A requisition just crossed your desk, and you know that you saw the resume of a perfect candidate months ago. Maybe they had applied for a different position, or they were a candidate that applied to your talent pool. How do you find them when you need them? Does your system have a powerful search engine? Can you slice and dice your data and search by different criteria and or keywords? Over time, we had databases of 300,000 to 400,000 candidates. And from experience, I can confidently say that we could fill hundreds of openings from the candidate data that already existed in our database. You just have to be able to find it. In healthcare, we know that executing the hire is just step one. You now have to do reference checks, have a physical, drug testing, background check, primary source verification, I-9, E-Verify, and in some cases a credit check. All this needs to be both timely and efficient because if you hired someone who is employed, in many cases it takes 4 weeks for the individual to leave their present position. Can you afford to have a nurse miss her start date and potentially have to wait an additional 2 weeks or a month to get on the floor because they missed the scheduled nurse orientation date? Plus, I think we can all agree that successful onboarding is key to new hire success and their longevity within the organization. With an automated onboarding system integrated into your ATS, you eliminate paper, make things easier for the candidate, and can ensure that things go successfully and on time. You also project a positive impression of the organization to the new hire, which is a key element of building your employment brand. Are you paper-bound? Wouldn't you like to get rid of the mountains of paperwork and go digital? Let's face it, every new regulation brings a new piece of paper. Every new union amendment brings a new acknowledgement form for new hires. Then there's the legal department's insistence on the ability to have paper applications and affirmations. With an integrated forms designer in your system, you can simply drag and drop and turn all your paper into electronic forms that you can print when you need them. And think of the ease to the candidate and the resultant candidate experience. And all are automatically entered into the candidate record when completed. And let's not forget about all the trees that we're going to save. So leaders are demanding more data and sophisticated reporting that transcends the typical canned reports that are available in most ATS systems. Those are typical recruiting reports. Leaders want business reports that tie recruiting and hiring activity into the heartbeat of the business. A sophisticated drag-and-drop reporting engine that allows you to report on every field in your database, including an unlimited number of UDFs, those are user-defined fields, can just transform your organization into a reporting powerhouse. Add to enhance your metrics. Move beyond real-time reporting into predictive analytics. Download your reports into Excel and tie them into a visualization or a BI tool and create custom interactive dashboards. We did it at AHN, and we had an interactive dashboard that went all the way up to the board of directors on a monthly basis. Through reporting, we transformed ourselves into a valued strategic corporate entity at the highest levels of the organizations. And reports can be scheduled to go out automatically, saving enormous amounts of time. And finally, I have to mention administrative tools. An ATS system that requires you to engage the vendor to make changes at the cost of both time and money is a yoke around your neck. A system that allows you to make changes and additions as circumstances change gives you the freedom to ensure you always have a system that works for you rather than you working for the system. We've only covered some of the major automation features of this recruiting ecosystem and haven't even touched on the myriad of productivity elements inherent in the automation platform that allow talent acquisition to engage and process candidates through the system and interact internally. So by creating this recruiting ecosystem, you enhance the experience of all your constituents, candidates, prospects, managers, and employees, as well as the experience for the talent acquisition team. You can dramatically increase internal referrals, and they produce some of the best quality candidates. You save time, money, and increase efficiency. And most importantly, you move from being strictly a tactical entity to being one of strategic value to the organization, thereby gaining the respect of the entire organization and becoming a corporate competitive advantage. So now your performance is exemplary and you're doing everything right. It's not over. It's only the beginning of the full employee life cycle. Anita, tell them what's next.
Thank you very much, Irv, and hi, everybody. I'm Anita Boness, and I'm with Halogen Software, and it's my pleasure to be speaking with you today and to dovetail into Irv's great presentation. So if we are successful and if we invest in a system and a process and a strategy that enables us to attract and hire the best possible candidates that we possibly can get our hands on, and we make those significant investments, the next piece in the puzzle, or the next cog in the wheel, going off the image that I have here, is really making sure that we integrate our talent management functions to ensure that we retain these people, we develop them, we engage them in their work, we provide them personal and professional job satisfaction, so that we get the best out of them and really create that sweet spot in terms of contribution and engagement. So how do we do that? And that's what I'm going to be spending a bit of time talking to you about. Attracting fabulous talent and then not working with it is like filling up your silo full of grain only to realize that there might be some holes in your silo. And besides, silos are for grain, not talent management, and so I'm going to use the analogy that we're trying to break down silos between our different talent management or HR processes to make sure that we have a unified system. we would suggest that, once we focus and really harden our talent acquisition processes, the next step in the puzzle is to look at ongoing performance management at the core of what you're doing to ensure that all your talent efforts are aligned towards your common organizational goals. We here at Halogen work very closely with our partners at Jobvite to make sure that we can do just that through our cloud-based applications. But really it's beyond just what we think as software providers, and industry analysts and researchers also demonstrate that there are significant business and talent management benefits if we are able to have integrated talent management functions. So these are just some statistics that might be relevant to us here in the call today. Going right back to the investments that we make in talent acquisition, if we have truly integrated talent management functions, we see a significantly lower turnover amongst our high performers. So statistics from Burson suggest up to 40% lower turnover. It also increases our ability to hire the best people, because when your candidates are in that talent acquisition process, or when we are recruiting internally to fill roles with the best talent that we have, people who are smart are going to look at what we are doing to grow and develop your employees, and that increases your ability to hire and to attract those right people. And integrated talent management processes also increase our ability to plan for our future workforce needs, to do those workforce planning activities, and to really truly understand the talent you have already in your organization today, to identify where you need to develop and where you may have gaps that you need to go external for. So when we take a look at what organizations are doing to evolve their approaches to talent management, we see that there is really a spectrum, a continuum to where organizations are at. And we work here at Halogen with a lot of healthcare organizations as well, and we work with different entities, different systems that might be at different points along that integration journey. So the first area really is the annual paper-based reviews, where we're driving predominantly from a paper-based process. Maybe we have Word docs. We're a little bit more evolved paper, but it is not in an integrated online system. And then we move to automate, where we are automating our processes. Maybe it's our yearly appraisal processes. Maybe we're doing some form of 360. Maybe we're making some of our compensation decisions driven from appraisal data. Then we start to see an integration or a dovetail between our talent management activities and potentially our talent management tools, where we're taking it one step beyond just an annual review, and we're integrating in a goal-setting process or goal-setting activities, integrated systems to provide employees with feedback in real time and not just at the annual review or formal performance conversations. Maybe we're seeing an integration, particularly in healthcare, between job description data that from a compliance perspective or from a certification, accreditation perspective that you're tasked with maintaining, and then assessing performance against key criteria, key competencies, key job duties in those job descriptions. Maybe it's creating talent profiles for your high potential employees, and then also dovetailing into ongoing learning and succession planning. So you're growing people for the roles they're in today, ensuring that they have the right certification, skills, competencies, et cetera, but also planning for their future career needs and your future requirements as an organization. This, for many organizations, this is, where we are aspiring. But there are organizations that are looking to go one step further and look to engage employees through a platform, a system of engagement where we're linking goals for the individual to business strategy, business outcomes through a series of cascaded or linked goals, having ongoing performance check-ins. We're working with one healthcare system right now where they are moving away from annual reviews to more quarterly check-ins with employees to help grow and develop people and not just be focused on the year-end performance conversation. This all drives continuous feedback between managers and employees, and also from employees to managers. It helps to support personal growth plans. It helps to develop the core and, I would dare say, clinical competencies within the organization. And it really helps with feeding that talent acquisition and talent attraction equation. And then at the end, we have Empower, where we're empowering people to really take control of their own career planning and progression. We're looking at driving employee satisfaction, going beyond just engagement, and bringing in some contextual coaching and learning. This is where we're seeing the future of integrated talent management and software solutions that can support that going. And this is something that I think we're going to see a little bit more of in the future if we're keeping our eyes on research, on what our analysts are saying, on what different software vendors out in the community might be doing. So this begs the question, where are you at in your journey? So just to bring in a little bit of interactivity, we've got a poll, and in our poll, I think you can read it on the screen here, how would you best describe where you're at with your integrated or your organization's talent strategy? Are you still buried in paper doing that paper-based process or perhaps Microsoft Word-based process? Or are you automating your processes and starting to look at how you can take that next step to evolve them? Are you at the point where you've successfully integrated a number of your HR programs together? Or are you moving more, I guess point number 4, from an organizational focused strategy to taking a look at employee-focused talent strategies to engage your people? And then finally, are you moving towards having your HR tools, your talent management tools, part of your day-to-day work experience for your employees and driving continuous learning? So I see some responses coming in. I'll give you another couple of minutes to tally where you think you are. And again, it's where you think you best are today. And while I'll do that, I'm going to sip my tea, because I'm in the midst of a snowstorm here in Ottawa, Canada, so I'm staying warm. All right, I think that's great. Let's show our respondents and move to the results. And here, what do we have here? Great. So as we can see, we still have some folks buried in paper. We're having some folks moving to the automation. And as I suspected, the most popular answer is we're integrating our HR program. So you're at that point where we see a lot of our healthcare organizations that we work with, and I think we have close to 40% representation there. We also have some organizations that are moving beyond that and are looking at engagement, driving engagement, and 5% of you that are taking it one step further and really making your HR tools part of your daily work experience and continuous learning for your employees. So that's fantastic. So why does this all matter? All too often we see that performance management is apart from and is not necessarily a part of an organization's business strategy. And what I mean by that is sometimes performance experiences and performance conversations are viewed as one and done, so that annual appraisal process, or something that is more administrative in terms of how it's treated and how it's experienced by managers and employees. Perhaps it's because it's a burdensome overhead that all parties need to take time out to complete. I've talked to many organizations that really struggle with span of control, particularly in clinical roles and nurse managers, that come to dread the annual review process. But what we're saying is that really if we can move forward to make ongoing performance management part of an organization's business rhythm or employee experience, we can help drive better business outcomes and really align the work that people are doing, their learning and development, how you are planning for the succession and leadership needs in your organization, and as well as your recruiting, onboarding, talent acquisition activities. Align them in such a way that you are moving your employees towards understanding how the work that they do contributes to your business and drive for better business outcomes. So there's real business impact and benefit here. In terms of what this really means to your employees and also to your candidates as you're bringing them in the door, is that we need to have an awareness that people's expectations for their work are changing. What they're looking to realize in terms of personal and professional satisfaction and contribution is very different today than it was perhaps 10, even 15, 20 years ago. It goes without saying that organizations have always expected their people to bring their best to work, their contributions to the organization, to the health network. But now people are also looking at how work can provide satisfaction to them or happiness to them. What am I getting out of this? How does this relate to my personal motivators and what I'm looking to drive in my career? We have a lot more talent mobility, a real diversity in the demographics that shape our workforces, and understanding that those motivators, those elements of the work that drive satisfaction may not be one size fits all. And if we can connect that satisfaction and contribution for each individual employee in a way that is aligning what they do to what we need them to achieve for our organization, we can drive engagement, we can drive their productivity, and we can lead to better business outcomes. And this is not an elusive concept, and I think that we can also look in very practical terms about how this equation can apply to healthcare and how we can help sell it up our organizational food chain to justify and potentially secure the investment that it may take to get such systems in place. If we look at organizations in the healthcare space that are able to realize high levels of employee engagement or higher levels of employee engagement, we can see tangible outcomes in terms of increased service levels, decreased hospital-acquired conditions, a reduction in absenteeism, and a reduction in the costs that arise because of that, and also an increase in retention. So we're holding on to those employees that we've invested so heavily to bring in the door and are helping them grow and develop their careers. This helps lead to increased patient satisfaction scores as well as decreased overhead and administrative costs. Higher patient satisfaction leads to greater patient loyalty, greater patient advocacy, higher HCAHPS results, directly ties to our revenues, and lower cost, increased revenues. There you go. There's your profit equation. So integrated talent management can be a very strategic tool in your arsenal to help your organizations with both their top line and their bottom line business metrics. So where do we begin and where do we assess what we're doing now to determine what our right next step may be when it comes to looking at how we can evolve our performance management, our integrated talent management activities? Like any change or like any strategic initiative, from a planning perspective, we need to think through the purpose of what we are looking to do, the value that it's going to bring to our organization, and the steps along the way that will help us get there in terms of goals, strategy, action plans. So a strategic shift in your performance management and even a tactical shift to take it one step further does require some planning and thoughtfulness, and I would dare say some skillful change management to get the necessary players on board and involved. So as you look to your budgets and your planning for 2017, we might want to consider how we can take our talent management and talent activities one step further. Does it support the requirements of our business? Are we supporting our talent acquisition needs within our organizations? Once we've made the investment in bringing the right people in the door, what are we doing to bolster up those investments and make sure that we retain, engage, and keep them happy so that they can grow and develop their careers and bring forward their best contributions? So if you've answered these questions and you know what you want to do, our next step is to help our employees and our managers transition into how we would like them to work in this new paradigm, how we want people to be collaborating and having conversations around performance. And our managers and how we engage our managers in this process, in ongoing performance management conversations, it's a great place to start. It really is one of those key pillars to ongoing performance management. They play a critical role in retaining, developing, and engaging your employees. We have statistics, and I'm sure there's a variety of statistics that are out there. These are just a couple that indicate the impact that managers can have on an employee's work experience. 50% of employees have left their job to get away from a manager at some point in their career, and managers account for 70% of the variance that we see in employee engagement results. So starting with our managers, having them bought into the system and equipped with the right skills that they need to develop, coach, and engage employees is something that perhaps you might want to start looking at in 2017 if you have not already done so. In terms of what else we look at as essentials for driving the future of management, integrated performance management, not only are we looking at developing great managers, but we would suggest that setting goals that drive performance outcomes, implementing systems of feedback and recognition, having systems of support to develop people for roles they're in today and where they want to take their careers, and couching those three elements with ongoing performance discussions, formal check-ins, informal discussions, open-door conversations between managers and employees is a great way to start. Now, we have a number of resources at your disposal here at Halogen and our website that you might want to tap into just to peruse and to see what other organizations are doing, including other organizations in the healthcare space. Our Center of Excellence at halogensoftware.com. We've got the link up here. And we also have a number of regular contributions to our blogs from industry experts and thought leaders for talent management and healthcare that might give you some food for thought in terms of where you might be able to take that right next step. So with that, we're just going to finish up with one additional poll. If you'd like to learn more about HR technology and integrated talent management platforms, we're not going to show the results of this, but we're just going to keep it in the background here just so we can see if there's anybody that would like to have a follow-on about Halogen and how we might be able to support you in this way. Feel free to fill out the response. And I think maybe what we'll do now is we'll transition back to Claire for Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anita, and thank you, Irv. So I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds. If you'd like some more information just about HR technology, we can send you some assets, some things for you to read if you'd like to see a demo, or if you're just not ready to see anything at this time, fill out that survey. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Q&A. And if you have any questions for Irv in talking about recruiting specifically for healthcare, or for Anita, whose main focus is more on the HR talent management side, we have some great experts for you to ask. So please fill in your questions in that bottom chat box. And I've got a couple of questions here to get us started. So it looks like someone wanted to ask. So Irv, someone has said, my manager is convinced that we need a recruiting system that's created specifically for healthcare. What can I say to him to convince him otherwise?
I guess I get that often, and I will tell you that my career began in the high-tech space, and then I was in the consulting space, and then I went to healthcare. Recruiting is recruiting is recruiting. A system that's highly configurable can be configured to work the way you want to, and recruiting talent is the same whether you're recruiting engineers or you're recruiting nurses or you're recruiting any other kind of discipline. So that's really a specious argument, and the quality of the system, from my perspective, is what's most important, and your ability to customize it and have it work for you rather than you work for it.
That makes sense. So we have another question coming in from Hannah, and she said, we have a great hiring process, but I just really need more candidates at the top of the funnel. Given that she doesn't have a lot of time, what do you suggest are kind of the first steps to filling in your pipeline and finding those applicants at the top of the funnel?
Well, you really need to look at the entire process from beginning to end. right away I'd ask you to take a look at what your application process is like. I'm absolutely amazed at all the healthcare websites that I go on, and like I said in the presentation, it's 30 to 40 minutes to apply for a position. I guarantee you that with those application times, you're only getting the desperate. You're not getting that quality candidate who suddenly said, hey, let me take a look at Harry's hospital and see if I might want to go to work there. And then, they don't have a resume or they don't have a lot of time, they're turned off right away. It is an effort that you have to consistently work at. You have to project yourself, and you have to do outreach. And outreach is extremely important. A system like Jobvite makes your efficiency and your use of time that much more efficient, so that you're not constantly dealing with all the administrivia, and you can really concentrate on sourcing and hiring quality candidates. It's not a simple answer. It's really a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah. I like that you started off at the application. Just to give my 2 cents here, we have one partner called Appcast, and their CEO, Chris Foreman, has this great story that a great application should be really simple, because those hard-to-find candidates, what you're trying to get them to do is, after that really tough day or that really tough shift, on their commute home or while they're making dinner and really regretting and hating their job, you want them, while they're glancing over maybe some LinkedIn messages that you've sent them or stopped over your website really quick, you want to capture them in those first 5-10 minutes so they can just send off a resume. Because the fact is that a horrible job is a little less horrible after a good night's sleep and that next morning. You want to really capture them at that night when they're just frustrated. And then once you get them on the phone, that's when you can convince them and show them how great your organization is. But until that point, that's where your great application and application process really helps you. I love that anecdote, because I think we've all had those days when we're a little more open to a recruiter's outreach than others.
I'm smiling because that's how I landed at Halogen. Exactly.
Yeah, let me also add, Claire, I mentioned in the presentation a pre-qualification process. My philosophy is let everybody in the door, okay, and that's that quick application. You can then create a pre-qualification step in your workflow, and you can automatically send that out, and then you can get additional information. But what that says to the candidate is, hey, we got you, we heard you, now help us further evaluate you by giving us some more information.
Yeah, that's a great tip to get through all those applications. Okay, well, if anyone has any more questions, or actually we've answered those first couple. If anyone on the line has any questions for Irv or Anita, definitely type them in real quick right now. Otherwise, I think we'll end a little bit early. But I wanted to thank Irv and Anita for taking the time this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are on the continent or in the world, for putting together such a great presentation on healthcare recruiting. From everything I hear within the recruiting industry and just as a citizen of the world, it seems like one of the toughest jobs out there. So thank you for putting together this material to help them out.
Our pleasure. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, it looks like we have one last question coming in from Cece at so this question is, references are a big pain to fill out during applications. Irv, do you think it's really necessary to be a part of the employment application?
Absolutely not, and that's why I say you can create steps in your workflow where you can get the reference data when you need it later on in the workflow, but don't burden the application process with references. And most good people will not provide them anyway. That's the same with salary. Most people are going to either lie about their salary, fudge their salary, or do something else. You can get that information after you get down to the candidates that you're really interested in and not burden everybody with having to ask for all that information. Just think of the number of candidates that you follow up with as compared to the number you get in total. It's very, very small. So why burden the entire population?
Great word. Okay. So with that, that is the last question that we have coming in. So I'd like to thank you guys again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.